It began on a quiet Monday morning at Northwind International Airport, the kind of morning where everything feels too normal, too calm, too predictable. Travelers rolled their suitcases across the polished floors. Coffee steamed in long lines, and security officers performed their usual drills. No one expected anything unusual, but within minutes, the world inside Terminal C would stop breathing, all because of one tiny boy standing alone near Gate 19. I share new stories here every day and would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now, let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end. Officer Ethan Cole, head of the K9 Rapid Response Division, tightened his grip on the leash of his lead dog Shadow, a large sable Belgian Malinois known for instincts that bordered on supernatural. Behind them marched 11 additional dogs, each trained for explosives, scent tracking, threat detection, and behavioral analysis. Together, they were the airport's silent guardians. Ethan scanned the crowd, mentally checking off the routine positions. Everything looked normal until Shadow's ears snapped forward. The dog froze, muscles locked, breath tight, eyes focused. This wasn't the usual alert posture. This was something deeper, instinctive, primal. "What is it, boy?" Ethan murmured. Shadow didn't move. He didn't blink. His gaze fixed on a child standing alone by a row of empty chairs. A boy no older than 6. Messy black hair, holding a blue backpack shaped like a shark behind Ethan. All 11 dogs halted. Then something no handler ever expects. They broke formation. Without a command, without hesitation, 12 elite K9 South spread out and began moving toward the child in a slow, protective arc. Passengers gasped. Some backed away. Others pulled out their phones. "Hold positions." Ethan shouted, but his command meant nothing. The dogs ignored him completely. 12 disciplined animals moving with one shared purpose. The boy looked confused, clutching the shark backpack tighter against his chest. Shadow stepped in front of him, lowering his head and growling not at the child, but at the air around him. The growl wasn't aggressive, it was warning. The other dogs formed a loose circle around the boy, tails rigid, bodies tense, scanning every angle, every sound, every movement. Something about the child or something near him had triggered an instinct the handlers couldn't see, smell, or understand. Ethan approached slowly, hands raised. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. "My name's Ethan. Are you lost?" The boy didn't answer. He stared straight ahead, eyes glassy, as if he wasn't really there. "What's your name?" Ethan tried again. The child finally whispered. "Arin. That's a nice name," Ethan said gently. "Can you tell me where your parents are?" Arin's lips trembled. I don't know." Shadow growled again, this time louder. Passengers flinched. One of the other dogs barked sharply, signaling danger. Ethan's heart pounded. His dogs never misread a situation. If they sensed a threat, it was real, even if no human could detect it yet. Shadow suddenly lunged toward Arin's backpack, stopping only inches away. Teeth bared but controlled. The boy clutched it tighter, terrified. Ethan's blood went cold. He had seen this reaction before. "Arin," he said carefully, "I need you to hand me your backpack. I promise you'll get it back." The boy shook his head violently. "No," he said, "not to." Ethan froze. "Who said not to?" Arin's voice cracked. "The man who told me to hold it tight." And just like that, the morning shattered. Because Shadow didn't just bark now. He howled, a sound no one in the terminal would ever forget. Asterisk. Shadow's howl sliced through the airport like a blade. Every dog joined in, their voices blending into a chilling alarm, not of violence, but a urgent warning. Security personnel rushed toward the scene. Passengers scrambled back, dropping bags and spilling drinks. Within seconds, a 20-meter radius around the child was cleared. Ethan knelt slowly. "Arin," he whispered, "I need you to tell me what the man gave you." The boy's small fingers curled tighter around the backpack straps. "He said it was a gift," Arin mumbled. "He said it was from my dad." A nearby officer frowned. "Where's your father now?" Arin's eyes filled with tears. He's gone. Mom said he went away." Ethan's stomach twisted. Shadow sniffed around the backpack again, then jerked back violently. Barking at the zipper area, Ethan signaled to his team. "No one touches this except EOD." He ordered bomb technicians sprinted forward with scanners. The lead tech, a woman named Dr. Mara Vance, ran a device along the fabric. Instant spike. Alarms lit up her handheld. "It's not an explosive," she whispered. "But it's something. Worse. What is it?" Ethan pressed. Dr. Vance swallowed. "It's a neural transmitter. Military grade. Designed to activate only within a specific range." Ethan blinked. "Range of what?" She pointed at Arin's chest. Shadow snarled again. But the snarl was fear. Real fear. Ethan had never seen that dog afraid. Mara continued. "This device isn't meant to explode. It's meant to gather data from something or someone the boy was going to walk past." Ern's voice trembled. "He told me to take it to Gate 22. Gate 22. The same gate scheduled for a delegation of international military scientists arriving in less than 30 minutes. Ethan felt ice crawl up his spine. This wasn't random, he breathed. They were using him as a carrier. Arin flinched as the dogs tightened their circle around him again. Not attacking, shielding, blocking any view of the boy from the surrounding glass windows. Mara knelt beside Ethan, keeping her voice low. "This transmitter has enough encrypted capacity to steal classified biometrics from anyone passing nearby. Facial patterns, voice signatures, even heartbeat frequency." Ethan shook his head. Who would build something like this? People who wanted access to those scientists' identities, Mara said. Once copied, they could impersonate anyone. Before Ethan could reply, Shadow's ears shot up. He wasn't looking at the boy this time. He was looking at someone behind the crowd barrier. A tall man in a gray coat, standing perfectly, still watching. The moment the man noticed the dog staring, he turned and walked away too calmly. Gray coat, north exit. Ethan shouted. Officers sprinted after him. But the man moved with eerie precision, slipping between crowds, turning corners without hesitation, disappearing toward the underground parking tunnel. Shadow lunged forward, nearly ripping the leash from Ethan's grip. "He's the one," Ethan whispered. Arin whimpered, hugging himself. "He told me my dad wanted me to take the bag," he said. He said Dad was waiting. Before Ethan could answer, one of his officers approached. "Sir, we found something else." Ethan turned. "What?" The officer swallowed hard. A note inside the backpack. Addressed to the boy, Ethan opened it. 6 words. 6 words that made his breath stop. "You were never supposed to live." The room spun. The dogs growled in unison, and Ethan realized this wasn't just a data theft operation, it was a planned elimination, and the real target was the boy. Alarms blared across Terminal C as police sealed off all exits. Officers swept the parking tunnels, stairwells, and maintenance corridors, searching for the man in the gray coat. But he had vanished. Almost like he knew. Every blind spot, every camera angle, every escape route, Ethan carried Arin to a secure office while Mara and the bomb squad dismantled the transmitter backpack piece by piece. Shadow refused to leave the child's side, whining every time someone approached too quickly. Inside the office, Ethan crouched in front of Arin. "Do you know that man's name?" he asked gently. Arin shook his head. "No, he never told me. But he knew mine." Ethan nodded. "Did he say anything else? Anything at all?" The boy hesitated. "He said I should be very brave today, because it was the last thing my father wanted." Ethan froze. "Arin," he said softly, "how long ago did your father disappear?" "A year. A year, and yet the tech in the bag was less than 6 months old, meaning whoever contacted Arin had access to military tech even after his father vanished." Mara entered the room moments later, her expression grim. "We cracked the transmitter's secondary layer." Ethan stood. "What did you find?" Mara turned the screen toward him. A looping message. Same phrase repeating over and over. "Retrieve the boy. Terminate the mother." Ethan felt his chest tighten. Where is his mother now? Mara blinked. "Passenger intake interview. She arrived earlier on Flight 8A." Ethan's eyes widened. "Does she know any of this?" Mara shook her head. "She thinks he got lost during boarding. Move." Ethan barked. He and Shadow sprinted toward the interviewing wing. They arrived just in time. A man, not an airport staff member, had entered interview room 3. Closing the door behind him, Shadow went wild. Ethan slammed into the door, shoulder first, breaking it open. Inside, a woman sat tied to a chair, eyes wide with terror, and next to her the man in the gray coat, with a silenced weapon raised. Shadow lunged before Ethan even gave the command. The man twisted, firing, but Shadow collided with him mid-motion, jaws clamping down on his arm. The bullet tore through the wall, inches from the woman's head. Ethan charged in, grabbing the man from behind and slamming him into the floor. The gun skidded across the tiles. The man hissed through clenched teeth, "You don't know what you're protecting." Ethan pressed his knee into the man's spine. "I know you're pointing guns at children." The man looked up slowly, eyes cold. "That boy isn't a victim. He's a key." "A key to what?" Ethan snarled. The man smiled, the kind of smile that didn't belong to a human. A locked future. Before Ethan could speak, the man twisted unnaturally, slipped from his grip, threw his head backward, smashing Ethan's nose, and broke free. Shadow lunged again, but the man leaped through the glass window into the hallway and sprinted with inhuman speed toward the maintenance wing. Officers gave chase. Ethan helped untie Arin's mother, Lena Hale, a tired, frightened woman in her 30s. She clutched Ethan's arm. "My son." "Where's my son?" "He's safe. But we need to talk." Lena shook her head. "No. There's something you need to know about Arin." Ethan paused. "What is it?" Lena looked up with trembling lips. "My husband didn't disappear. He was taken." "And Arin?" She swallowed. "Arin wasn't born like other children." Lena sat with Arin wrapped in her arms inside the secure examination bay, while Ethan, Mara, and the counterintelligence team reviewed the newly decoded contents of the transmitter. The truth was finally surfacing. Arin wasn't just targeted, he was engineered. Lena trembled as she explained. "My husband Nathan was a biosignal engineer. He was working on a project called Project HALO, a classified algorithm that could predict behavioral patterns from neural signatures." Ethan frowned. "Predict what kind of behavior?" Lena wiped her tears. "Everything. Loyalty, deception, deep-buried instincts, even violent tendencies." Mara exhaled. "A human predictive model." Lena nodded. "Nathan created the first human subject able to carry the pattern imprint." Ethan's breath hitched. "You mean?" She looked at her son lovingly. Yes, Arin was the test. Child. The room fell silent. Ethan tried to process. The man in the gray coat wasn't trying to kill Arin out of cruelty. He wanted to capture him, the only living subject with a predictive neural imprint, a child who, if scanned properly, could unlock a system capable of predicting the choices of any world leader before they made them. A weapon disguised as a boy. Arin sniffled. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to make trouble. She hugged him tighter. You didn't. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. But the danger wasn't over. Shadow suddenly stood, ears twitching. He stared at the ceiling, then at the ventilation. Great. A faint metallic click echoed. Ethan froze. Everyone down. The grate exploded outward. The man in the gray coat dropped from the ventilation shaft like a shadow falling from the sky. He landed silently. Eyes burning, Shadow charged. The man sidestepped, impossibly fast, and slammed Ethan into the wall. You can't stop this, he whispered. Mara hit the emergency alarm. Dogs burst into the room, all 11 remaining K9s, forming a defensive wall. The man lunged for Arin's shadow leaped between them. Teeth clamped onto the intruder's forearm. A sickening crack echoed the man's elbow, snapping from the force. But he didn't scream. He didn't even wince. Instead, he whispered, Protocol override. Sector Omega. Arin suddenly gasped and clutched his head. Lena screamed. Stop. You're triggering his imprint. Shadow growled deeper, tearing into the man's sleeve. Ethan lunged forward, slamming the man's head against a steel cabinet once, twice, 3 times until he finally collapsed. Officers handcuffed him instantly, but he only smiled through bloodied lips. You saved him today. He looked at Arin. But you will not save him tomorrow. The man passed out. Ethan caught his breath. Shaking, Lena collapsed into the chair, crying into Arin's shoulder. Shadow rested his head on the boy's lap, calming him instantly. The airport slowly returned to order as the threat was neutralized. Intelligence units secured the suspect, and Project Halo files were locked under federal protection as Ethan walked Arin and Lena toward the waiting secure transport. The boy reached down and hugged Shadow tightly. You're my hero, Arin whispered. Shadow licked his cheek. Ethan smiled faintly. Sometimes, he said softly, the ones who save our world aren't the ones we expect. Arin looked up. But he saved me first. Ethan nodded, and he always will. Shadow barked once, proud, confident, protective. A hero with 4 legs and a heart built for saving the world.